What's good, y'all? It's the Demouchets REACT, and we're back with another video. Who we got today, C?
Today we're back with another American reaction. Super excited about this video. If you're new to us
and we're new to you,
make sure you scroll down,
hit that subscribe button,
and turn on the post notification bell
because we're on the road to 200K.
And we cannot get there without you guys, alright? Join the family. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
Let's get it.
Very little of what historians know about Black Caesar is concrete and grounded in evidence. We know that Black Caesar was born somewhere in Africa, most likely West Africa. He was lured onto a slave ship where he established an alliance with a sailor of unknown origins. Together, they took over the ship and eventually joined Blackbeard's crew aboard the Queen Anne's Revenge.
18th century vessels are incredibly complex, and it takes a lot of training to be able to be skilled in knowing how to work a vessel. He picked up the skills to be an adept and well-known maritime man, and I think that is a testament to his success.
According to the General History of Pirates, Blackbeard took Black Caesar under his wing as a sort of mentor-mentee relationship, sort of like Obi-Wan Kenobi and Luke Skywalker, but instead of a spaceship, it was on a pirate ship. And then,
brother, hold on, I'm confused. So he was boarded on the ship as a slave. He took over the ship, aka the vessel. He never went back home. But then
It was too far, babe.
And then he build a relationship. He probably didn't purposely build a relationship, but he had a relationship with Blackbeard, which is the dude that was on the boat as well at that time.
Right. One of them.
I'm confused. I don't know about that. I don't know how that. I don't know. I need deep information. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm listening. That's how in the conversation I'm in. I just need more information.
Yeah, y'all gonna have to let us know y'all stories about this.
Yeah, but let's get it. That's interesting.
1718, when Blackbeard's pirate ship ended up in a final standoff against the British Royal Navy off the coast of North Carolina, Blackbeard, who was killed in that battle, entrusted Black Caesar to blow up the Queen Anne's Revenge, so it would never be under English control.
Oh, not you, Caesar. Should anything untoward happen, I want you to stay here, ignite the powder room. They may take me, but a ship under my command, never.
Knowing that your crew member was willing to blow up a ship and destroy not only himself, but the vessel, all of the men, all of the booty, in order to ensure that the ship does not get confiscated, that is trust. That is indeed, I think, a strong bond.
Before he could blow up the ship, the injured Black Caesar, along with 17 other men, was captured and tried for piracy in Virginia. And in December 1718, he was hanged. It's tragic considering the circumstances that led him to become a pirate. At the same time, it's a familiar ending to a lot of pirate stories. But if you were to look up Black Caesar on Google, or maybe ask Jeeves if you're old school like me, you'll notice repetitive and speculative language around his story. Vague and stereotypical references to him being a tribal chief in Africa, and his huge size, immense strength, and keen intelligence. A lot of supposedlys and according to legends, and it is said by whom?
The way pirates and privateers would write about people of African descent was to refer to them by their color, and they would refer to them interchangeably. Rarely, if ever, did they identify them by name. And so often when we're kind of piecing together these images of Black pirates and figures like Black Caesar, we're kind of creating composites or pulling from different sources of information to create an image that is often based on fragmentary details.
Basically, most Black pirates were never seen worthy of being named in the records, so we don't know Black Caesar's birth date, birthplace, or birth name. As a result, we don't know for sure if the details that surround him belong to him or a different unnamed Black pirate. And of course, this leads to the question of, who are all these other Black Caesars? There's a few we definitely know about, like Henri Caesar. Born into slavery on a French plantation in Haiti, he was part of the Haitian Revolution. In 1805, he captured a Spanish ship and his pirating career began, attacking small villages and lone vessels near Cuba and the Bahamas. Some say he was captured in Key West and burned to death, and some say he escaped with $6 million in treasure that is still hidden around Florida. Jeeves, book me a flight to Florida. Then there's John Black Caesar, an African-born man convicted of theft and piratical acts in the late 18th century. He was brought to Australia on a prison ship, but he escaped, and was known as one of the country's first bush rangers, thieves hiding in the wilderness and rebelling against European settlers. But it makes me wonder, why the name Caesar? Why is that the name that was used to describe men of African ancestry?
In ancient Greece, they practiced slavery as a form of like socioeconomic setup. So at the same time, it's both the name of royalty, but it's also the name that marks or identifies or associates that individual with the system that has enslaved him. What I find kind of interesting and almost a little sad is the trial record of Blackbeard's crew. Caesar is the only man who doesn't have a last name. That's indicative of his identity as a formerly enslaved man.
Unfortunately, we don't have many written first-hand accounts of history from enslaved people. Most of the historical records we have are from the perspective of well-off European men who often wanted to make themselves the hero of the story.
Right. I'm glad he said that, because I was holding on to this thought for a very, very long time. I'm glad he said that. Oftentimes, they don't tell us who the heroic people are at these times because they don't want them to be identified as black. They want those type of stories to go under the rug so they can get the glory for it. Right? Yeah. They don't, and I feel like telling a person the color of an individual back in the past or in the history of times is very important for the people of this times. Because when you want to identify at all, whether it's in comics, movies, conversations, history in class, you can identify with a certain group of people so they can have a little understanding on what was like back in the days.
Yes.
I mean, that's important.
Especially now in today's time, everybody want everything to be politically correct. Mm-hmm. Was that this past summer, there was controversy over Cleopatra? I think it was Cleopatra. I think so. And there was some, feedback about that because the people were like, no, keep her ethnically how she was. Don't try to, cast her as, I believe it was a black person. I'm not sure. Like, it's kind of vague memories, but to keep it how it was. And it makes me think of August Wilson's work. Okay. A playwright. Mm-hmm. He wrote his stories for black people. He wanted black actors and actresses to play these stories. Nobody else could play it because it was our stories, right? Really important. So, I feel like
the color matters.
It does, and I know people are like, oh, it don't matter. But you got to tell history as it happened.
Yeah, in any book that requires a level of complexion, I feel like that heroic moment should be also identified into its complexion as well to show people who done what at what time that person done it.
Right. Although this is not really something that's...
Well, I just want to make that mention because that comment was something that it was in relation with what I was thinking too. The story. Because his last name is not in his it's not in dialogue. So they can identify who he is when he did something that was very meaningful in a certain time of history. Mm-hmm. And if he can't be identified, then they can always take his name and place it on someone else.
Right. And that would leave out the guesswork of historians and regular people, right?
Yeah, and anybody else who was in relation with the story. Right. Yeah, so let's get it.
Burnish their own reputations, and so a lot of that involves them talking about them as the good guy, as the hero, as the brave one.
My wondrous journey, a life at sea.
Bit of fan fiction. Captain Bonnet. Can't stop imagining him in all different scenarios, all totally made up.
And so they weren't really trying to give anyone credit, but certainly they were not giving credit to men of African descent, no matter how much they relied on their expertise.
Right.
So it stands to reason that Blackbeard's story of taking Black Caesar on as a mentee may have been an attempt to make himself sound better. Looking deeper at the question of freedom, how many black pirates joined crews out of their own free will, and how many were captured? How many saw that as the only possible alternative to slavery? Is that even being given a choice?
Some of us thrive on danger, don't we?
Yeah, but look, me and Jim, we don't do this because we like it. We do it because we don't have any other choice.
It's a common feel-good story. An enslaved person against all odds breaking the bonds of slavery and escaping to an exciting, adventurous life where their destiny is in their own hands. But unfortunately, even at sea, enslaved and free black people suffered in many of the same ways that they did on land.
So they had their reasons, and piracy had its appeal, but it also had its dangers and risks that they wouldn't necessarily be able to live any freer than they did on land. Maybe they had some more mobility, but did they necessarily have their freedom?
Black Caesar isn't just a story of a famous pirate. It's the story of many, many unknown men of African descent who wanted a chance at freedom. At the time, the man we refer to as Black Caesar had no way of knowing how history would look back at him, what he would represent, and the countless people he would be a stand-in for. But isn't that what makes legends? Legends aren't born saying, "Hello, I'm a legend." They often don't even know that they're going to be legends as they're facing their fate. So legends are made by how we tell their stories. It's up to us to decide who is a legend and what parts of history are legendary.
Now listen, this was
Go check the
needed.
channel out though.
Oh,
Make
yeah,
sure
yeah.
go check the channel
Sorry,
out.
babe, sorry.
No, you good, you good.
This was needed because y'all know we love history
Yep.
around here, right? I never looked at pirates, or first of all, I never really knew about black pirates. And I did not know that they exchanged slavery for piracy. I just never knew that was a part of our story. I didn't know.
Right. I mean, that goes all the way back to the island of, the land, whenever they was saying that black people was putting black people on boats. It's like that choice that was being given to them. A lot of them understand that they didn't really have a choice because of the options and the risks and the consequences that was going to take on to their villages, their tribes, their people. When you think about it, it's like, would you sit back and risk your whole family, your whole village getting burned down all because you want to stop and fight 20 men?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
At sea.
At sea. And then again, like you was mentioning as well, being a pirate on a boat, you know, from being an enslaved person to being a pirate, that's never talked about. Never talked about.
That's another piece of the story we're going to have to dig deeper into, y'all, because what? I didn't know. I'm a history buff, baby. I research history. I watch documentaries. This is a part of my daily life, okay?
Yeah.
So, I never knew that. I never knew that.
More information, please.
Yes, so let's discuss down in the comment section below. We hope you guys enjoyed this video with us. Be sure to subscribe. We'll see you soon.
Peace.